Hi guys, my name is Vusi and welcome to my channel. I am a former summer analyst at Arrow Global, and today I will talk to you about a topic that I am often asked about, which is what I actually do or what I actually did. Of course, the days will vary from day to day in this job, but I will give you what an average day looks like. And this video was recorded in August 2022, just to put that disclaimer. So my commute is about 30 to 40 minutes when I'm working from the office, and I use this time to read my devotion or just something to cultivate a sense of centeredness for all its merits. It really helps to keep me grounded, and I absolutely love that. Work officially starts around 9 a.m. And so when I get to the office closer to 9 a.m., I would check the work that I need to do, check my emails again. I get my water and maybe a banana or an apple. I try to avoid caffeine because I don't want to get used to it. I don't want to like it. So I literally can count the number of times I've taken coffee on one hand. To help me stick to that, I try to wake up early from around 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. so that I'm alert, quite alert by the time I get to work. I also run a little and take a good dose of protein and vitamins to get blood flowing and to regulate my nervous system and just to nourish my brain cells. I will make a separate video for that because I think it's very important to do it right, and especially in the mornings. So I was working with Arrow Global's investments team, and within that team I was working in the originations division. All this means that I was working as a buy-side analyst, and what that also means is I was researching and making investment recommendations. I had three supervisors, three people that gave me work to do. One was in real estate, the other in credit, and the other one was in mergers and acquisitions mainly. That kind of made it easy for me to always have some work to do, but I would focus and prioritize whatever task ranks higher in priority at any particular point in time. Earlier in the morning, when I wake up before getting to work, I would quickly scroll through my emails and Microsoft Teams to see if there's anything that needs my immediate attention, or if there's anything that maybe one or more of my bosses would have sent over. If there is something that actually does need my immediate attention, then I would have to decide if it's something that I can work on and complete while I'm at home, or if it's something that I'll have to rush to the office for so that I start a bit early. So part of the work that I did was researching. So I would research on market activities, especially in the real estate industry. I would learn about the developments that are taking place in the real estate industry, in the wider real estate industry, and then narrow down to a particular segment that would like to focus on, or that a particular client would like to focus on, and figure out what metrics to use in valuing that particular company or that particular real estate asset, and build a valuation model. So I would build DCF models, which is discounted cash flow models, relative valuation, which is in simple terms comparing company metrics against each other, and going through their financial statements to find the relevant numbers and to make a spreadsheet. And sometimes it involved figuring out if I still want to go ahead with the particular numbers that I'm working with, or the particular metrics that I'm working with, particular method or valuation method that I'm working with. And sometimes that meant that I would destrip the numbers and figure out what numbers I would like to use instead. And sometimes it's a combination of any of the things that I've mentioned about, an infinite number of permutations of the things that I've mentioned about. Then for the more complex things that I did not know how to deal with or could not figure out how to solve, I would then liaise with the relevant boss concerning that particular situation. So think of it this way. You are trying to find a wife or a husband or a life partner of some sort. You already have goals for your own life, right? You already have your things that are set already, and now you want to make an addition to your goals. You want to settle down. You want to make another milestone, and so in this sense, the additional milestone would be the wife or the husband or the partner. So you need to decide what things are important, what characteristics the wife or the husband or the partner should have, what the deal breakers are, how you measure each of those metrics, and you need to figure out how you're going to measure how the potential partner, scores on each of those metrics and overall. But all you're trying to assess really is whether or not she or he or they are a good fit in your life that is already existing. So it's not entirely the same, but it's quite a similar concept. Then on any particular day, I could have a meeting with my boss or any of my bosses or all of them. And I could also have meetings with clients as a support person. And if I'm working from the office, I would have to find an empty room from which I can take the call so that I don't make noise for the other guys, and also so that I can, just focus on the call. So on this particular day, I had a call with my boss, working more on the litigation side of things and on the non-performing loans investment side of things. I'll talk more about that later on in this video. But yeah, so I guess he was probably one of my favorite bosses, if not my favorite boss. This particular boss worked from a different office, from a different city, which is essentially what necessitated more of these calls for communication and clarity's sake, and also so that I get to learn more efficiently and effectively. When I had a meeting with a client, which is client plus one of my bosses, I would usually not have much to do there except just listen and learn and take notes and maybe ask for a bit of clarity if it's something that I'm working on directly. One interesting aspect of my internship experience at Aero Global was the litigation and non-performing loans part of my work experience. Aero Global is a European investor and asset manager in non-performing and in non-core assets. And as a part of that, as a part of its work, it buys debt from banks, it buys debt portfolios from credit card companies and from telecoms businesses. So it was more likely than not that on any regular day, I would either work on at least a non-performing loan portfolio or a litigation investment deal. From the litigation side of the work, I would mainly research on the type of litigation claim and how it works in this particular jurisdiction in England and Wales, and how it has been dealt with in the past, if there are cases that have been done on a similar case, or if not, why things got stuck along the way. And so I would also analyze the underwriting documents that would be receiving from the third party service providers that would be working with, and I would come up with my analysis of whether or not I think we should go ahead, we should pursue that particular deal or not. And there's a lot of things that would be involved in coming to that conclusion, and I would have to figure out what I'm basing that decision on and whether or not it's sufficient to use as a basis for making a decision. On the non-performing loans side, it was mainly organizing information that we receive from the portfolios that we buy to make it meaningful for valuation purposes. So remember, I mentioned that part of what Arrow does is purchase debt from different organizations. So purchasing debt means they are buying debt portfolios when consumers, regular consumers, make credit purchases, or when they borrow, which is when they get loans from banks or financial institutions, sometimes they don't pay in full, sometimes they don't pay at all. And at some point, a bank may decide that it no longer wants to keep that debt that the customer is owing on its balance sheet, and it may sell it. And so Arrow would, on the other hand, buying that particular debt portfolio. And so my duty was to arrange and organize the information that we get from the seller of that debt portfolio to make it meaningful for valuation purposes. And so sometimes I would have to reach out to my bosses to ask for help if there's certain things I didn't need, but it was pretty straightforward and a bit exciting, to be honest. Sadly, I can't show you guys the visuals of what exactly I'll be doing because it involves real companies with real information that is confidential. Work from my third boss was mainly in mergers and acquisitions. A typical task on a normal day could be building a merger model to evaluate the merits of a portfolio add on a mergers and acquisitions transaction. Or it could be creating summary profiles for companies that we are looking at. Then at 1 p.m., we would go for lunch. There isn't a predetermined time for lunch, but we just prefer to go for at 1 p.m. It's quite flexible. You just decide what time you want to do lunch. I usually had packed lunch, but once in a while I didn't, and so we had to buy. On this particular day, we had to buy. I usually went out for lunch with a fellow intern. His name was Josh, and we would walk to this other place and sit and just catch up and talk. He just had this way of making my mentor and sister instincts come out. He was very curious, and he also had a way of inspiring me in some ways as well. It's quite validating to see young people imaging the future they want to see. The future is certainly bright here. On this day, we got burgers from Burger King. Mine was really nice, except that I forgot to add the onions, but it doesn't really matter anyway. So we'll eat between 1 and 2, and then 2 p.m. we make our way to the office and we do some more work again up to around 6 p.m. So my work wasn't necessarily structured in a very time blocking way. I would have to do it myself on any particular day depending on the tasks for that particular day. So I could literally be doing anything at any time, right? And at the end of each of these tasks that I've talked about, I would send that work that I would have done to the relevant boss so that they review it. And as they are reviewing, I would be working on the next task that ranks next in priority, and then wait to get feedback from my boss when they're done reviewing the work. And sometimes I have corrections to do. The earlier days, I had more corrections to do than anything else. And sometimes it's just quick fixes to send back again. And sometimes I've simply done an excellent job that my boss is proud of. And then I'll check my emails again and respond to those that I would have been ignoring during the day. And because it's summer, there isn't always as much need to have late nights at work. But it's a great experience to get into how money moves somewhat privately, like what's going on behind the scenes when an investment is finally made, when companies merge, or when one company buys another company, and just the back and forth of what happens sometimes before a transaction is eventually announced or when final information is available to the general public. Once in a while, we have drinks at work and we just enjoy ourselves, and then we go home. And then for me, I get home, I wash up a little, and I have a light dinner or a fruit or just a bit of protein and vegetables, depending on what I would have eaten or what would have taken place during the day, and maybe catch up with friends and family, and then read something. It could be something devotional in some sense, or a spiritual book that I really am looking forward to reading at night, or a non-religious book. It could literally be anything as long as it's not fiction. And then that makes me feel quite relaxed enough. It prepares my body and my mind for sleep, and then I then go to bed and prepare myself for the following day. And yeah, so this is what a typical day of mine looked like when I was working in investment management as a summer intern. I hope this video was quite useful. I hope you enjoyed it, and thank you so much for watching my video about a day in the life of an investment management analyst intern in London. Please like the video, comment down below, and share and subscribe if you haven't already subscribed, so that you can watch the videos that I'll be posting in the coming days and weeks. Let me know in the comments down below if you have any questions, or if you just have any comments. And if you do have some questions, I'll try to respond to them. And if I feel there are questions that will be beneficial to a lot of other people, I'll probably put them even in the description box below. But please let me know if you have any questions, concerns, or anything about what I just shared with you today. And if there's something that you would want me to clarify or make a video of, then also let me know again in the comments down below. I look forward to meeting you again in my next video. Take care of yourselves. Bye for now.